Hearts of Iron, the forgotten heroes who held the line. Subtitle: One Ridge, One Purpose, Endless Sacrifice. They called it just another hill. But for the men who climbed it, bled on it, and died upon it, it became sacred ground. This was not a famous battlefield. No statues, no parades. Just whispers in the wind and stories fading with the years. Yet it was here, on a nameless ridge in the crucible of war, that a handful of forgotten soldiers stood between survival and annihilation. Their orders were simple: hold the line at all costs. And so they did. Through thunderous artillery, relentless waves of enemies, and bone-deep fear, they held. Some were farmers, others students. Ordinary souls forged into iron by desperation. Their families never knew the full truth. Their medals, if any, gathered dust. But their courage? That ridge still remembers. This is their story of grit, loss, and glory unsung. Stay with us. The sacrifice they made deserves to be seen. By candlelight, with bullets overhead, they wrote letters they hoped would be read after they were gone. Tell Mama I love her. Keep my dog safe. These weren't warriors. They were sons, brothers, dreamers. But war doesn't care. In those final hours, as the enemy crept closer and the ridge trembled, humanity flickered in every word scrawled. One soldier wrote, "If this ridge falls, everything behind us burns." And still, they didn't run. With every heartbeat, they knew they were buying time, precious time, for families far away to live another day. Some cried, others laughed bitterly. A few clutched rosaries or dog tags and whispered prayers between mortar blasts. These were not just soldiers. They were human shields, holding back the storm with their flesh and faith. And as the first light broke over the ridge, their words lingered in the cold morning air, floating like ghosts from mouths that would never speak again. They came like a tide, enemy after enemy, wave after wave, with bayonets flashing and war cries splitting the air. The ridge shook with each explosion, yet those few defenders, battered and exhausted, rose from the mud like ghosts. Bullets ran out, so did food, but resolve? Never. With trembling hands, they loaded the last rounds. When the enemy closed in, it was blade to blade, hand to hand. Every inch of ground was paid in blood. They fought not for victory, but to delay. Every second they held meant lives saved behind them. Even as the line buckled, they didn't break. One soldier, chest torn open, still swung a rifle like a club. Another crawled forward with a grenade pin between his teeth. They weren't supposed to survive. They didn't. But because of them, a town was saved. A flank was held, and the enemy, though victorious, left the ridge in silence. In war, friendship is forged faster than steel. On that ridge, rank meant nothing. Blood did. They carried each other through minefields, shared the last drop of water, and whispered strength into each other's ears when limbs failed. When one collapsed, another lifted him. When one wept, the others stood tall. They called each other brother, not by blood, but by survival. And when the time came to say goodbye, they didn't say it with words. Just a nod, a glance, a firm grip. That was enough. They knew this was it. One soldier scrawled on a helmet, not afraid to die, just afraid to forget. And so they clung to each other, not as warriors, but as boys trying to be brave for one another. On that ridge, the only medals were scars, and the only reward silence. But even silence speaks, especially when it's earned in fire. They were down to their last men. Ammunition gone, reinforcements not coming. Still, they held the line. With bare hands, bayonets, and raw fury, they refused to back down. Some say it was madness. Others call it duty. The truth? It was love for the men beside them, for the lives behind them, for the ridge that had become their grave and monument. When the final surge came, they didn't cower. They rose, bloodied, outnumbered, doomed, but unyielding. One soldier charged with nothing but a shovel. Another lit a flare as his final act, signaling to the sky, "We're still here." And for a moment, the enemy hesitated, because courage, true courage, is terrifying. In the end, only silence remained. No heroes returned from that ridge. But history should not forget those who gave everything, not for glory, but to buy one more heartbeat for those who couldn't fight. The ridge was quiet. Smoke drifted lazily where screams once filled the air. Medics found nothing but bodies and blood. No survivors, just letters never sent and boots filled with mud. Command called it a tactical delay, a technical term for a massacre that saved thousands. The families were told their sons were brave. A few medals arrived by post, but the ridge, it remained unmarked, unnamed. Nature began to reclaim it. Trees grew where foxholes once yawned. Rain washed away the blood, but not the story. That would live in the eyes of the few who knew. And one day, decades later, an old man returned. He placed a single rock on the ridge, carved with one word: honor. Then he turned and left, the wind carrying his whispered prayer. They were more than soldiers. They were the line, forgotten by history, but etched into the soul of a nation. We walk freely today because someone else stood still. On that nameless ridge, the forgotten became immortal. No history book tells their full tale. No monument lists all their names. But the price they paid echoes in every sunrise, in every heartbeat we take for granted. They were never famous, never praised, but they held the line so others wouldn't have to. Hearts of iron, they were called. Men who stared into the abyss and said, "You shall not pass." Their story isn't just about war. It's about loyalty, sacrifice, brotherhood, and the quiet kind of heroism that doesn't ask for recognition, only remembrance. So now, we ask you, will you help us keep their story alive? Share this. Speak their names. Let their courage echo far beyond that lonely ridge. Because true heroes don't need medals. They just need to be remembered.